Hi guys, welcome back. This is um, Beard Brothers Inc. and we're coming at you with another reaction. This time from our Skillet Journey, and we're still in the first album called Skillet, and it was released in 1990 something.
1996.
1996. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I finally remembered the other founding member's name.
Oh yeah, what was it? What was it?
It's Ken Stortz.
So Ken Stortz and
John Cooper.
John Cooper is the popular one. He's the lead singer, so everybody knows him. He released a book or two in the last couple of years, right?
Yep.
And he has his own podcast and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely very active member of society.
Yeah, but also if you think about it too, one thing he's been focusing on is his faith and bringing people to God and trying to expose like lies within the media.
Yeah, that's basically his podcast, right?
Yeah.
Majority of it.
His podcast, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's interesting. But anyway, we're gonna time travel back to 1996 Skillet album, and the song that we're gonna be doing is "Safe with You" from that album. So let's go ahead and do this. So we found a lyric video this time around, just to help us, and let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
Classic.
I will be safe with you tonight. You'll cause a smile and the teardrops in my eye. Locked inside your every movement. Will I stand or will I fall? Trapped inside your walls of glory. I am just as a dead leaves for ya.
Look confused.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to pause it right there. So, the drum beat is very basic, and I do like the instrumentals in the background. The voice mixing is horrendous.
Well, I mean, you gotta realize that this was the 90s.
I know this is the 90s, but this was even worse than Pizza Tran. Okay, Pizza Tran, I could barely hear it. That one was like, okay, it's a pizza love song, so I can deal with it. But this, like, reading the words and trying to match it with what he's singing, it's just hard.
The thing about early Skillet is you do have to like really listen, and you have to read the lyrics as you listen.
Yeah. I do like the way they started off, because they kind of started off a little bit kind of like Whispers in the Dark, the later song, where it's a little soft, a little whispery, and then it goes real hard into Whispers in the Dark, the chorus. This one is not going really hard into it. Maybe it's later in the song where it goes really hard, but this one's more of like a reflective, calm song, like a self-meditation type of song. So let's go ahead and continue listening to it.
Chaos in my head, the whole universe is at rest. When I'm in your arms is when I feel the best. Locked inside your creative being, world about in your unfailing truth.
Okay, so the whole song is lifting up my voice to the God who really sees. And then the screaming winds, the crashing.
You gotta realize, I feel like
Even though the beat stays.
I think part of that has to do with like it being Christian rock in itself. Like I feel like Christian rock might have been new back in the 90s, so like if they were keeping it tame. If you think about it, like, no, you gotta have a little.
But honestly, like, the song is beautiful, and I think what I'm saying, the reason why I started laughing is because there was no lead up to the screaming winds. Like, I saw the lyrics and I was like, okay, this would be a good time for it to do it, but there has to be a lead up. Like, lifting up my voice should have been where it started, because you're lifting up your voice. But no, he's still whispering.
I mean, this is this is the part where he's like quieter, and I feel like there is kind of like a build up. There's like a build up from the very bottom.
There's a build up in the instruments.
And then it skips the middle.
There's a build up in the instruments. There's no build up in the voice.
Yeah, it goes from the bottom, skips the middle, and then to the top. But like, there is another version of this song.
A later one?
Huh?
A later one?
Yeah, like, it's from their first live album, which is Ardent Worship.
Which is probably done better because it's later acoustics and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're going to go back just a little bit.
And the changing of the seasons as I stand in awe and wonder, nothing in the world prepared me for you. Never prepared me for you. Safe with you. Safe with you. Jesus. I'm a slave with you, Jesus, I'll be safe with
I think also maybe it followed a little bit of grunge in terms of drums and stuff. Maybe I could be wrong, but like grunge drum beats aren't all that heavy either. So like, especially with the way that we have evolved from the 90s, grunge was big for the whole 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Give me some time to switch back, please.
Sometimes you just gotta talk.
So yeah, obviously a more heavily Christian album, song in general, especially towards the end. Towards the beginning, I can see an excuse for people thinking that it might be a love someone or something like that, but
yeah,
definitely in the middle and the end, you're like, oh yeah, this is Christian, this is about God.
But I mean, in the beginning, it throws the lyric in there, glory.
Yeah.
And you're not going to like consider a woman to be glorious.
I mean,
if you're
you want me to tell your girlfriend that? You want me to tell your girlfriend that? See what
glorious,
she thinks about. Yeah, exactly. That's what I got.
I feel like back. Most Christian songs throw the word glory in there.
Yeah.
And that's how you can tell.
And I feel like it's definitely on the downplayed with the rock. And I think a lot of more modern Christian music actually goes side to side with that type of skillet. Even the modern like gospel and worship songs go with that type of thing.
Yeah.
They're really loud drums. really an uplifting voice type thing
Yeah.
versus that slow and soft voice.
Yeah.
So the only thing that like would characterize that song as different within our nation, I mean within our time period right now,
Yeah.
from Christian worship is the tone of John Cooper's voice. His tonality is very rocky, like definitely feels like a rock artist versus the tonality of a Christian singer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Christian song, so yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like the message was pretty good. I didn't see anything in the lyrics that was overtly against any popular beliefs here and now or beliefs within the Bible. There's I felt like one contradiction in the first verse where he's like, I'm feeling safe within you, but then he compares himself to dead leaves falling, which could be just, the fact that within, by himself, he is like that, but Jesus is, whenever he's with Jesus, he's safe. But yeah, that's my personal take on it. And this is a journey for mostly me, not really that much him, because he's listened to a lot of these songs and he knows a lot more about the history of Skillet. I got introduced to Skillet maybe 11th grade of high school, which was 4 years ago.
So that would have been around like Rise or
Yeah.
like Unleashed.
Monster was the first song that I heard, but that had been out for about a year or two by that time.
Monster was out in 2009.
Okay, never mind. It was out for a very long time by the time I heard it. But yeah.
Yeah, my brother introduced me to them in like 2011, and I just remember hearing Monster. And
you would have been what, 12, 13?
11 or 12.
11 or 12, yeah.
Yeah. I just remember my brother introducing me to them, and the farthest I believed he listened to was like between Comatose and Awake, which were their more popular albums, which you'll see why they're very popular when we get to them.
Yeah, they're definitely different. And I think Awake was one of the ones that I went with Winter Jam with my mom for. Skillet wasn't handlighting this Winter Jam, but they did play the song Awake, and my mom saw the YouTube video and playing in the background, and she was like, okay, we're leaving. Like, that was her reaction to the song. Like, she wasn't even listening to the words, she just saw the background video and she was like, that's it, we're leaving. And that was, yeah, I went back home and I watched it on my own.
So, honestly, though, do you see now, like, are you able to start picking up that there is, like, heavy Christian themes within, like, the first two songs that we listened to out of, like, the 10?
Yeah.
You'll like...
Yeah. As we get closer, we're going to explain a whole lot more about why people today don't recognize that Skillet is a Christian artist.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in all communities, LGBTQ, atheists, hard rock core people, even like really people that are like goth people are really into this band, and we're going to discuss why, because it also has to do partially with their split off bands as well that go, and there are times where Skillet kind of splits up for a year or two and they do their own.
But that wasn't later until like the 2010, mid 2010s.
Yeah.
And you got to realize Skillet's been around since the 90s.
Yeah.
So like they're good for about 15 years or so before they start.
They're still good. What
I'm saying is,
they're still Skillet. There's never been like a band split where they never came back together. They just split because one artist said, "Oh, I want to do my own thing," and all of them just agreed that year they weren't gonna do Skillet. So
yeah, Very, very interesting stuff to come within that realm of their split off bands.
Yeah.
Split off.
Yeah. They're not really split off. It's just 1 year breaks. Maybe a couple more year breaks, but
Yeah.
the most recent one was the maybe 3 years ago. Ledger split off. That Ledger went more into like the pop world. Their drummer. But,
yeah, she's been talking about that since like 2013.
Yeah.
I remember reading on their Wikipedia page when I was like 13.
Yeah.
It was like,
And then she hadn't been able to do it until like 3 years ago that she came out with her own album, and everybody loved that when that got released.
dude, I feel like it's been a lot longer that she's released something, but like, there is news that they should be like recording something, whether it's a single or an album.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's to be looking forward to it. But that was Skillet from the album Skillet, and the song that we did was Safe With You. Very heavily Christian themed, but pretty nice, except for the vocals are a little bit hard to hear and not mixed well. But that's characteristic of a lot of 90s music, especially startup 90s bands. So
I just want to say as well, like, you know, the guitars, like the ringing, I don't know how to say it, but like the tones, they just like resonate with me, and every time I hear this song on this album compared to their Ardent Worship version, I get chills with this one more.
Yeah. The guitar solo towards the middle with the bass was really nice.
Yeah.
To have the drums kind of drop out completely and just have them both right align.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Beard Brothers out.